sitting here at the meditation garden. I made it to church, thankfully. Unfortunately, it's still one of the few times I actually see anybody off the internet. The garden is one of the few places I can go to do meditation, mindfulness, thinking, and try to discern about my next step. I decided to do an update to a video I made 4 months ago. Hang on 1 second. I made in October, and I will tag this on to the beginning. Ow! Yes, my twitches are going crazy. Rather than concentrating on all the losses I had since 2012, I'm trying to remember what I gained when I got thrown over here in '94, and how far I've come since my job ended and the income ended and my dealing with the medical situation. What has changed big time since October is, my rent has gone up to $810, around that every month. My disability check is only $927. In black and white, that is putting me in dire situation. Excuse me. So I'm having to spend 8 days a week dealing with the cells, on top of the medical conditions, and trying to figure out at this moment how I'm going to pay for the 8 doctors that I need to set up with. The cost for me to say hi to any specialist, which are most of them, is now $45. I'm having to spend at least $100, $150 a month on over-the-counter medication. And so I'm trying to post the ads on the 2 sales list without sounding too desperate, but even though I am. I made the sales videos with hope that it would help. Not sure if people are understanding the predicament I'm in. I will do everything possible legally to not be homeless again. I've gone too far in the last 30 years to end up back in that situation again. So as of right now, I've got 715 items. I've got other items I can add down the road, but I decided to lessen the number somewhat first. I have been stabbed in the back so often by people who say they're interested. It's surprising that I can drink again. If everyone that replied to me or contacted me would follow through, I would have most, or at least half the items sold. Right now I've got 22 people I've contacted, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. Ow. The added pressure of the financial situation on top of the medical conditions and lack of a life, for lack of a better word, is not helping the stress level. So I come here to the meditation garden to do my meditation and to turn it over to my higher power. I do have to give all the thanks and glory to God for my understanding to get me through. When I mentioned that I'm on the side of the cliff with the rope, hanging on to that rope, I'm not kidding. God keeps tying knots into the rope or making it longer. I'm still staying sober and clean, one day, 1 minute at a time. And on my own strength, I could not make it. I have to trust God for a miracle regarding the sales and everything else. Nothing could have prepared me for all this. I have been, I've faced numerous other serious obstacles, and I made it. Somehow, some way, I will make it up this mountain that I seem to be on every day. Wish I could get people to understand what it's like to deal with 15 medical conditions and having to sell what took me over 40 years to get. Most people, excuse me a second. And type of water. Most people in recovery could not make it day by day physically alone. Ow. I'm trying to get back to the meetings, but when it takes me hours a day to deal with the sales and survival, I've got little to no time at all. So it is a I begged and I pleaded with my farm manager to not raise the rent. It didn't do any good. And I've got a few months before I have to worry about that again. Hopefully by then the miracle will have happened and I will have sold to hundreds and hundreds of items. Thankfully I've been in recovery long enough to be 30 years last month to know what I have to do to get to the day and stay sober. God is still doing for me what I cannot do for myself. There's a reason the program says 1 day at a time, because that's all I can handle, and that's a full load as it is. So just want to let you know, my financial situation has gone from bad to worse, and my medical conditions are not improving. So my time left on this planet is, I'm living on borrowed time. And I continue to be an activist because I want to leave this planet a little better than it was when I came in. We can all make a difference, no matter how bad or good the situation is. Don't give in to apathy or selfishness or greed, because that will lead us nowhere. Anyway, I hope this makes sense. I'm back to the boulevard of broken dreams, but I know, thank God, that He never leaves me. So I will add this to the previous video and see where it goes. For all intents and purposes, I don't have to care what goes on with humanity or the planet because I'm only passing through and I only have a few little time left. But I'm not that kind of person. I've seen too much pain and too much sorrow for myself and with others do not care. So, God bless. I will now go take my next step, which will probably go deal with the sales and the relocation. Oh, hello. I just found out the greedy web companies want more money, which I do not have. I had webcam hard soft, but they've taken it away, so I will have to go searching for a new one. As my other half is gone, as usual, I decided to go ahead and make this now and see where it goes. I'm not sure where, but that's my higher power. I, I was going to initially make, or I thought about making a recovery video for my 22 years sobriety. Ouch. By the grace of God, I decided this would be better because once you realize what's going on, what's been going on, not only is it a miracle that I've got 22 years clean and sober, it's a miracle that I'm even alive. So I opened with the Serenity Prayer, something I pray almost every day, and something I'm still working on. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Acceptance has been extremely difficult, especially in the last 5 years. The continuing present storm I'm in now started really in April 2012. However, it's taken different directions. Hang on. I was working for the Cancer Society. Both of us, mother half and I, were working full time, making good money with full benefits. Never could I have dreamed in a million years I'd be where I'm at now and what I've gone through since. My friend Roberta, who I knew for 29 years, I talked to her in January 2012. She seemed fine. The breast cancer had been in remission. Unfortunately, it came back and she passed away in April 2012. And to make it even harder, I had to put down a death notice on the computer at work. And she is not the only one. Then a year later, as you all know probably, I watched my dad die in front of me on April 11, 2013. It has impacted me harder than I ever could have imagined. I've gone through everything you could possibly deal with regarding grief, and it has been a huge challenge in my recovery because if you have to go through this much pain and you have no way to get rid of it, you do what you gotta do. I've cried a million tears, and my higher power, God, is keeping me afloat. Then my friend 5 months later died. I knew him for 25 years. He passed away at 56 at the age of a heart attack. And the first person to find out was my CEO of the company. He was really cool. And to say I owe my life in gratitude to my former boss would be an understatement. He would literally call me in the office to make sure I was okay. I've been crying in my desk, at my desk. Crying beats having a nervous breakdown or losing my recovery. It took me from 1977 up until 95 my twitch is going crazy, to get my first job at the office. I'd gone to business school in 77 and run into the problem that many others are run into. You don't have any experience. How am I going to get the experience if I don't get the job? If I don't get the job, I don't get the experience. Didn't realize until 95 when I was thrown over here that I should have gone to 10 vacancies at the time, but I wasn't thinking. I knew the job was ending a few months before it did. It ended after almost 7 years on January 17, 2014, which just so happened to be the same day of the earthquake that threw me over here in January 17, 1994, which is quite ironic, could be in the same day. I have tried to go back to work, and with the multiple medical conditions, it is totally impossible. First off, I'm not doing this for your pity or for your sympathy. I know there are hundreds and millions of people right now fighting disaster because we didn't listen to Mother Nature and due to the cost of living. There's a whole lot worse condition than I'm in. I know it's like to be forced out of your house or your home due to a natural disaster. I was in the biggest quake in LA history. I had no plans of leaving, but it is what it is. I'm working on paper here. Everything that I had to my name when I left Burbank, I left LA, I left my dreams, was in the back of a car. I've gone a long ways, thankfully, but my part of the grief process is the loss of anything, and losing my job and my income and my career has made me question, was it worth the last 25-year struggle? Is my life over? And how do I survive on $9.15 a month on disability with the medical bills and the other bills coming in? Stop. Before I go on, I will let you know, stop. I got a sword going through my neck and there's nothing I can do with it. I will read you what I'm dealing with 8 days a week. And here we go. GERD, acid reflux since February 2008. Arnold-Chiari malformation, which you see. 2, since 95, they got really bad in 2010. And they want to do surgery. They want to cut my throat here and here and put plates and pins in my neck. But I've got no place to recuperate. My other half does not understand and don't know if she ever will. I've had arthritis for over 35 years. I got a 1-inch bunion on my left foot, which makes it fun to walk and to buy shoes. After 27 years, I quit smoking, mainly to keep my job at the Cancer Society. A month later, I was diagnosed with COPD and with GERD. Since then, I found out I also have emphysema, acute bronchitis, and asthma. There is no cure. Hiatal hernia in my throat since March 2012. It hurts when I take a deep breath in my chest and in my throat. So I'm having a chest CT scan next week. Don't know how I'm going to pay for it yet, but anyway. I've been in Zambia since 74. And since all this pain and chaos and stress has happened, it's gotten worse. Lower back pain since 78 when I was smashing drunk and fell off the back of a pickup truck. And I called that guy every name but God. But I've since forgiven him. The lower half of my mouth is hurting, and I have to find a way to go to a dentist. I haven't had any real teeth since 93. I've had prostatitis since August 2013. I have a pinched right nerve on the right side of my neck, which started in June 2014. So right now, I cannot afford to go to a chiropractor or a physical therapist because if they see my neck wrong, I am crippled. I've been told I will end up crippled with or without the surgery. There's severe compression of the spinal cord, spinal stenosis, curvature of the spine, and that's all the neuro problems. Having to deal with depression, grief, stress, PTSD, anxiety, and other emotional and mental conditions. And I've been in recovery from drugs and alcohol since January 88. And by the grace of God, I do have 22 years as of August the 20th. That is enough to drive anybody crazy. I've had over 400 doctor appointments in the last 4 years, which is more than most go to their entire life. I'm trying to start over, but I'm having to spend most of my time dealing with the sales or with the medical conditions. The stress is insurmountable because my rent's going up in 3 weeks, and I've got these medical bills coming in and have come in. Despite my being on Medicare, I still have paid over $900 cash, which is taking money out of the savings account, which is not going to last forever. I have not had a normal life, if such a word exists. Never had my own house, even though I lived in houses when I lived back home in California with a roommate. I've never driven a car, never had my own kid, never wanted one. And right now, despite 20-year anniversaries coming up, my marriage is in rocky point. I'm praying for a miracle because it will take a miracle to break down the wall. Being on disability was the last thing I ever wanted to do, because from 81 until 2000, I was on it before, and they sued me for $13,500, which I had to pay them back most of it. I had to file bankruptcy in 2007, and thankfully they raised $5,000. So right now I'm having to choose between paying the bills or going to the doctor. Before I got here, in 94, I always had friends I could call, I could talk to, I could hang out with. I do know a few people here, however, I am having to fight for my survival, my life, my sobriety, and my sanity. So I have to get the sales done. I am alone, physically alone. My higher power never leaves me, 95% of the time. So I walk down the boulevard of broken dreams on a continual basis. I cannot afford to go by my feelings or my senses, or I would not make it a week. I'd probably go mad or be checked in somewhere to a psych ward. Maybe I'm already in one. Um, I've learned quite a lot since my dad passed away. Grief is dealing with any kind of loss, with a job, a dream, your health, death of a loved one, and much more. Thankfully, I've read a couple books on dealing with grief, and there's been so many firsts and weird things happen since my dad went home that I don't have the time or way to describe it. Wishing I had one thing my dad had that I don't seem to have. He can make friends with anybody and find it quite easy. I do talk to strangers when I'm on the street, out running errands. I've given out at least 1,000 business cards I made. And yet, I sit here existing on a machine. My holidays are pretty well gone. While I love my mom and we have fun together, it would be also cool if I had other people to hang out with. I didn't intend to end up being a lonely middle-aged man. Anyway, I'm trying to convince myself that life will get better despite the numerous obstacles I'm facing now, whether I like it or not. And I have to trust my God of my understanding to get me through this, because I don't have the strength. If I can stay sober through a 5-year storm that is continuing, then it's possible for you to stay clean and sober too. Oh. Praying for a miracle. One day this will all be behind me and I can carry on. My last thought is 2 weeks ago I went to go see the movie called The Shack, which is controversial. I saw it at my church and it's got me thinking about numerous things. I cried through most of the movie. One part says, God says, you gotta get past the pain. Well, I'm trying to. Trying to get past the pain to see the light and see a brighter day. And I just thought I'd let you know where I'm at, what is going on. So I have 3 major prayers that I got to get the 750 items sold or set up a funding account. They can have a real life off of the machine, and that the marriage can be saved. That God is doing for me what I cannot do for myself. Anyway, With that, I shall pass, and I hope this made sense. I'm fighting the twitches and trying to keep it together. Oh, by the way, thanks for all the subscribers. I have many other videos in my head and on paper, but time is one thing I do not have, so I make the best of what I got. Okay, take care. Hope this rambling made sense somehow.